Watch episode 1, Jasmine and Her Wicked Stepmother, to follow this story. Years later, Jasmine and Simon continued to enjoy a blissful marriage, and their 3 children were all grown up. While happiness filled their home, envy and jealousy were festering. The chain of events that followed would change their lives forever. Carter, their son, had chosen to follow in the footsteps of his parents and become a skilled surgeon, dedicating his life to saving others. Ella, the older of the twins, had inherited her mother's kindness and warm-hearted nature. She radiated empathy and was known for her genuine acceptance of people from all walks of life. Ella had always been the one to lend a helping hand, to offer a kind word, and to embrace diversity. Her open-mindedness had earned her friends from all corners of the world, and her gentle spirit touched the hearts of those who knew her. Ella was a shining example of the values her parents had instilled in her. In contrast, Emma, the younger twin, had a disposition quite unlike her sisters. She was known for her harsh judgments, a tendency to look down on others, and a prideful demeanor. Emma had allowed her arrogance to overshadow her potential for goodness. She often chose to ignore those who needed help and ridiculed people who didn't meet her standards. Her sharp tongue and stubborn pride had distanced her from the kindness and acceptance that Ella radiated effortlessly. Despite their differences, Jasmine and Simon loved their daughters equally and hoped that time and life experiences would shape Emma into a better person, just as it had for them. They believed in the power of love and guidance to influence their children's characters. A turning point in Ella and Emma lives, both girls had excelled in high school and earned scholarships to a prestigious college in the United States, where they both pursued their dreams of studying law. The day came for Ella and Emma to depart for the United States to start their college journey. They bid their parents and brother Carter goodbye and headed off to embrace the challenges of studying in a foreign country. The twins were as close as ever, sharing everything in their lives, including their appearance, as they were identical twins. Within a short period of time, Ella and Emma made some friends at college. They got to know Susan, who was also on a scholarship program, Ethan, an international student from Europe, and Grace, an orphan working her way through college by working in the cafeteria. The 5 of them became inseparable, supporting each other through their college experiences. One day, as Ella and Emma were heading to the library with their friends, they encountered 3 mean girls, Cassandra, Zara, and Helen. These girls decided to target Ella, the older of the twins, by trying to trip her. Emma, quick to react, attempted to confront Cassandra, but Ella stopped her from retaliating. Cassandra and her friends walked away, amused by their cruel actions. Emma was furious with Ella for not fighting back, but Ella explained that not everything warranted a reaction and assured her that she was fine. They proceeded to the library after the incident. After a few hours of studying in the library, Emma grew hungry and asked Ella to accompany her to the cafeteria. They grabbed some food and were heading out when they bumped into Mark and his friend, William. Mark was known for his sharp dressing and was the object of affection for many girls on campus. Mark greeted Ella, and before she could respond, Emma pushed herself in front and responded instead. Ella decided to step aside, allowing her sister to interact with Mark. Meanwhile, William, Mark's friend, who often worked in the cafeteria, decided to strike up a conversation with Ella. As Ella and William chatted and shared some laughs, Emma finished her conversation with Mark and joined her sister to leave the cafeteria. Ella bid William goodbye, and they parted ways, promising to meet up again. Back in their dormitory, Ella faced Emma's displeasure as her sister questioned her for smiling and talking to William, whom she referred to as a dirty, smelly boy. Ella defended William, explaining that he was her friend and that his appearance was due to his work. She advised Emma not to judge people based on their looks. The next day, Emma took her hostility to another level. While Ella was studying in the library, Emma sought out William, slapped him, and told him to stay away from her sister. She poured her drink on him as well, humiliating him further. Ella rushed to the scene to confront her sister but arrived too late. Ella eventually confronted Emma back at their dormitory. She was unapologetic and told Ella to leave. Distressed by her sister's actions, Ella decided to change her room to avoid further conflict. William felt really bad after all the insults Emma rained on him. He decided to stay away from Ella because he didn't want conflict. He stopped picking Ella's calls and avoided her. Ella made several attempts to apologize to William for her sister's bad character, but he continued to avoid her. Susan took it upon herself to speak to William on Ella's behalf. She explained everything, and William agreed to meet up and speak to Ella. William accepted Ella's apology and shared some laughs. Months went by, and Ella and Emma's relationship grew even more strained. Emma distanced herself from Ella was one thing. She eventually stopped speaking to her twin sister. Ella continued to thrive academically and maintained her friendships with Susan, Ethan, and Grace. 2 years passed, and Emma's behavior deteriorated further. She failed most of her classes due to her cutting classes with her boyfriend, Mark, and her newfound friendship with the bullies Cassandra and her gang. She ignored warnings from her professors about her declining grades, as she was more focused on her relationship with Mark and her rich friends. Days later, William and Ella were taking a stroll around campus and accidentally saw Mark and Cassandra making out on the stairs. Ella didn't waste any time. She rushed to find Emma to let her know what she saw. But at the sight of William, Emma was infuriated and told her sister she was lying and that she didn't believe her. Ella advised her to focus on her studies and leave Mark because he didn't love her and that Cassandra and Mark were having a secret affair behind her back. However, Emma asked Ella to get out her room. William, Ella's friend, became her confidant. She expressed her sadness about how Emma has been treating everyone including William and wished her sisters would change her ways. William and Ella spent much time together. They fell in love with each other and decided to start a relationship, and their bond grew stronger. Meanwhile, Emma's jealousy and anger continued to fester, fueled by her twin sister's success and happiness. As Ella's engagement to William was announced, Emma couldn't bear her sister's happiness. She made it a point to visit William's workplace and mock them, revealing her bitter resentment. Ella stood up for William, telling her sister to stop. Ella's kindness and genuine love had not waned despite everything. 2 months later, Emma went to Mark's room uninvited and caught him and Cassandra making out. When she shouted at them, they didn't even try to hide it and laughed at her. Mark told her she was a fool and that he was relieved she found out because he was tired of hiding. That same day, she found out from the school administration that she was dropped from the college due to failing all her classes. Ella heard what happened and went to comfort her, but she was inconsolable. The day finally came when Emma had to return home. She wept because she had not only disappointed herself but also her family. The bad character she had adopted and her mean ways had finally caught up with her. She was kicked out of the program and had to return home with nothing to show. Ella saw her off at the airport. After Emma got back home, she isolated herself for a while until she figured out her next move. Her parents were disappointed but still encouraged her to learn from her mistakes and pick herself up to start over. Ella remained in college and kept studying, and her hard work paid off as she passed all her courses. Meanwhile in America, the day came for Ella to meet William's parents. She was given an address. However, when she arrived at the location, it seemed completely different from what she expected. Ella called William, confused, and he came out to greet her. He asked her to enter, promising to explain. Inside, Ella was introduced to William's parents, and she was taken aback when William began to reveal the truth. He confessed that he wasn't actually a struggling college student working at the cafeteria. In fact, he came from a wealthy family that owned a chain of pharmaceutical companies making millions each year. William was the sole heir to their empire, and he had chosen to keep his identity a secret during his college years. Ella was stunned by the revelation. She felt hurt that William hadn't shared this with her earlier, but she also understood his reasons for wanting to live a normal life and find genuine friends who liked him for himself, not his family's wealth. William's parents approved of Ella and warmly welcomed her into their family. Ella and William's love grew stronger, and they continued to work at the cafeteria as if nothing had changed. Ella suggested that William accompany her to Jamaica to meet her parents during their summer break, and he agreed. One summer break, Ella decided it was time for William to meet her parents in Jamaica, as they planned to get married after graduation. She was excited about introducing him to her family and showing him where she grew up. Susan, who was also traveling home, joined them on the journey. Ella's parents welcomed William warmly, giving their approval for their daughter's choice of partner. Ella, William, and Susan enjoyed their time in Jamaica, spending quality moments together. However, Emma remained distant and refused to greet William, consumed by her jealousy. During their visit, Emma remained distant, struggling to contain her envy and resentment. Ella was hopeful that her sister might change her ways, given the chance. Ella decided to tell her family how William had pretended to be a struggling college student who had to work to pay his tuition. Turned out, he was just tired of having fake people around him who pretended to care about him because of his family's status. Jasmine laughed and commended William for the decision he took to discern who was genuine. All this time, Emma was eavesdropping and heard everything. Her eyes popped wide open when she heard all that Ella said about William being from a reputable family that owned a chain of pharmaceutical companies making millions yearly, and William being the sole heir to their empire as an only child. Emma approached Ella and started apologizing for her past actions. She asked her sister to forgive her for all the bad things she had done to her over the years, right from childhood. Ella, being the kind and loving sister, accepted Emma's apology and embraced her. They both cried, letting go of the pain that had separated them for so long. Ella was happy to have her sister back, and they laughed and reminisced about their childhood. Emma suggested that they plan Ella's wedding together, as she wanted to be there for her in every way possible. The idea warmed Ella's heart, and they began to rebuild their relationship, focusing on love, forgiveness, and a brighter future as sisters. Ella suggested that since Emma was mending fences, she should have a conversation with William so they could settle things since he'd be her brother-in-law soon. Emma agreed. William had long since forgiven her, but he was very happy that she apologized to him. It marked a new beginning for their relationship as they all moved forward, focusing on unity and understanding. Did you like this story? If so, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video to help us grow. Stay tuned for part 2 of this story to see how things unfold. Thank you for watching.